Hi guys, check me out. Oh yeah, I am filming in front of bookcases for the first time, for the second time ever. If you've been watching Bookish Brits from the start, you'll remember one of my really early videos. In fact, I think it was my first one. I'm sitting in front of my bookcases, but half my face is in light and half my face is in shadow. When I say half my face is in light, I mean I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost because I am so pale, I just basically reflect the sun so badly. Anyway, I am now in front of a bookcase because I have moved. Oh yes, I'm now living in a flat where, this is so exciting, only people who YouTube will get this, so forgive me for infusing a bit too much. The window is opposite the bookcases. I repeat, the window is opposite the bookcases, so the light is perfect. I'm way too excited about this. But anyway, yeah, I have space for this lovely big bookcase, and I can also have my computer on in the other room as well, so you can't hear it in here. I used to have to turn my computer off to film because I was filming in the same room, and that was annoying because if I wanted to fact check something, I'd have to do it on my phone. So next time we have a blooper reel, there are going to be quite a few shots of me sitting here looking something up on my phone. Anyway, today I wanted to talk to you about the two conventions that I've been to this summer. Some of the others have already done videos talking about YALC. I will put links to that in the description below. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit myself. It was so much better than last year in terms of the actual event. Bear with me, I will explain. So last year it kind of felt like YALC was just kind of crammed in. You'll probably hear the siren in the background, downside of the new flat. Anyway, it felt like YALC was just kind of shoved in to the back of LFCC, and it didn't have enough space. It was all very hot and exhausting and overwhelming. And YALC this year was a lot more chilled. It felt like we were given a lot of respect by LFCC. YALC had the best part of the floor in the Olympia to itself, which is amazing. There was so much space. When I walked into the YALC area, I was amazed by how much space they'd managed to get. And I think because of the space, this allowed the organisers to do some more creative things. So there was a workshop area and an agent area, and some publishers got on board with this as well. For example, Walker Books had life drawing classes as a tie-in to I'll Give You the Sun, their stand, and Hockey Books as promotion for Lorelei. We had somebody doing mermaid hair, like braiding and hair chalks and things like that on one of the days, which was really cool. It'll be great to see more of that next year because there were some other publisher stands which they were just literally selling books and, you know, giving you a free tote bag if you bought some books. Some of them did also have authors who weren't appearing at YALC on a panel come and hang out on the stands for a while and sign and things like that. I think Waterstones also had some authors book selling, so that was cool too. I think in terms of the panels, YALC didn't suit me quite as much as it did last year because I mostly read contemporary YA. So last year was amazing for me. I was excited about the vast majority of the panels, whereas this year there were some that I weren't into that much, but that's fine because it's, you know, it's not about me. It's not a event that is targeted just at me. So it was actually quite nice because there was some more time for me to wander around and look at the stalls, brave going downstairs. Every time I went down to the rest of LFCC, I came back and told other people not to go because it was just so hot. It was quite overwhelming going downstairs. Speaking of overwhelming, one thing I think YALC could do with is a designated quiet area. This is something I'm kind of stealing from Nine Worlds. At Nine Worlds, they have quiet rooms for people who are a bit anxious or just want some time by themselves to be quiet, sit by themselves, think, or meditate, relax, read a book, whatever. And I think that YALC could really do something like this because, you know, a lot of YALC visitors do get a bit overwhelmed by being in that kind of environment, because going to YALC is one thing, but it being LFCC is quite, it can be quite stressful to some people, and I completely understand that. There are a lot of crowds, and so yeah, I think a designated quiet area would be nice. I mean, some people did just sit down in a corner and beanbag and read a book, but that's not ideal. So yeah, it would be quite nice if there was just kind of a quiet or reading corner for people. I also think another criticism is that I felt like the panels seemed a bit less diverse than last year, especially in terms of ethnic diversity. It kind of seemed like there wasn't quite enough people. So there were all these seats for the panels, and for most of the panels, there were a lot empty. And this is no fault of YALC. This is just generally, I feel like we need to get the word out about YALC a bit more. I think it's pretty difficult with schools because it is mostly on a weekend, so obviously teachers would have to work on a weekend to take children to YALC, and that wouldn't be so great. But I think generally, you know, there should be more people, the stores should be selling out of books more, and yeah, just, yeah. I mean, I don't imagine that YALC have much of a budget for advertising, so maybe they should do something a bit more grassroots, like have a street team or something like that. I mean, word of mouth has certainly worked for Nine Worlds, which, yeah, you can notice my segue there. So yeah, Nine Worlds was the other convention I went to this summer, which was last week I came out for Nine Worlds, and that was another amazing, overwhelming event. Maybe didn't enjoy it as much as YALC, but that's because a lot of my friends went to YALC, so quite a few of my friends went to Nine Worlds, but a smaller number of them, and because Nine Worlds, so the way Nine Worlds work is that there are all these different tracks and all these panels and other events going on at the same time. So you're kind of, if you're like me and you are determined to see as much stuff as humanly possible, then you will be rushing from one thing to the next, and you won't actually have that much time to sit down and hang out with your friends, which, you know, good and bad. So yeah, I think YALC was slightly better for me because I did have time to hang out with my friends, and also YALC doesn't extend to the evening, it does kind of finish at about 6 o'clock, so then you can go have dinner, etc., whereas Nine Worlds carries on into the small hours, so you don't get that same time free to just hang out. You actually have to deliberately decide not to do something in order to do that, if that makes sense. So anyway, the Nine Worlds love has really spread through word of mouth. It seemed a lot busier than last year. And last year it did seem quite busy, but last year I got to go to every panel I wanted to go to. And this year, unfortunately, I did not get to go to every panel I wanted to go to because the rooms are full. Sometimes I had to go to my second choice panel for that time, or just do something else. But I can't really complain because I just should have got there earlier, you know. But then somebody else would have missed out, and so yeah, it would be nice if the rooms for panels could be bigger, but that might require a change in venue. Speaking of the venue, like everybody else, really, I didn't have the best experience. At Nine Wells, it didn't feel like the hotel really planned for the number of people that would be coming, in terms of facilities, of refreshments, staff behind the bar. In terms of actual content, I think I did enjoy Nine Worlds more, just because there was so much on and there were full 3 days worth of content which interested me. Nine Worlds doesn't quite match up with my interests, as I've said before. I mostly read contemporary YA. I mostly go to Nine Worlds because I love Buffy and general geek culture, just the whole feel of it really. You know, I do read some fantasy and sci-fi, but not as much as I'd like to, because there are only so many hours a day, and usually I tend to spend those hours I have for reading contemporary YA. But there was a young adult track this year, which was absolutely fantastic. You know, there wasn't a huge breadth of content, but it was kind of a good start, and I think it will be something that will be built on in future years, I really hope, anyway. And it was good to see some varied authors on those panels. I do think that Nine Worlds could also benefit from better diversity, especially on panels. There were too many panels where all the speakers were white or appeared to be white. I don't want to make any assumptions about anyone's ethnic background. So yeah, I really think that maybe there needs to be some kind of, not hardline policy, but general policy that track leaders should try to achieve some kind of target in their diversity, ethnic diversity, I think especially. So I feel like just in general it would be good to have panels that are more representative as well in general. What Nine Worlds does very well is having, as I said, a wide range of things going on. There were board games running all weekends. As I said before, they have quiet rooms, which I think is something that YALC borrow from. They have all kinds of things to make it as accessible as possible, and I think they provide a good model that other conventions could learn from. Obviously, YALC is nowhere on the same scale. It's a totally different beast. I think people who are a bit nervous about going to YALC would probably find Nine Worlds a bit overwhelming, to say the least. I think YALC is kind of more accessible because it's smaller. You know, you don't have to go to the LFCC parts if you don't want to. The YA book world is kind of small. You see the same people over and over again, and that's kind of more comfortable. Whereas at Nine Worlds, all these people I didn't know. I didn't really speak to very many new people. I did try to make more of an effort on the last day because I felt like I'd only spoken to the few people I kind of came with, who were already my friends. To talk to people, you know, in the loos or in queues, main times when I speak to people. But otherwise, I didn't make any new friends. I've, followed a couple of panel speakers on Twitter and things like that, and added some more books to my wish list and things like that. But I didn't really make any new friends, which is strange. After YALC, where I did meet some new people, or some people I never met before, but already knew on Twitter and that kind of thing. But I don't know if it's just because I'm not quite in the right crowd for Nine Worlds, I kind of went because my friends were going and it sounded intriguing, and I kind of liked the goals of the convention generally. Last year, and because I had a great time last year, I thought I'd go again this year. So, I think take my comments with a pinch of salt because it's not quite my area of interest, if that makes sense. Anyway, if you're thinking about going to a convention, I would suggest to you that you do as much research as possible into what it's going to be like because, as I said, YALC is very different to Nine Worlds. Both of them are very different from LFCC generally, which is much more of a queue up to get signatures and go buy some stuff off some stalls and maybe watch a few panels kind of convention. So yeah, I would say do some research, read some reviews, go with some friends if you can the first time, or with family members. But yeah, I think if you did go to either YALC or Nine Worlds, you would have a great time, because I did really, really enjoy them. So anyway, I don't want to make this video any longer than it already is, so if you have any questions about either convention, please leave them in the comments. And as I said before, I will put links to other Bookish Brits reviews of YALC in the description box, and I also see if I can put some reviews of Nine Worlds in the description box as well, so that you can see what these two fab conventions are like. Anyway, that's enough from me. I'm going to sort out my dinner and stuff. Okay, bye! Good time for me to stop filming, TBH.